Thank you, Father Coop, Father Becker, Reverend Fathers, any honored guests, and my dear brothers. Man, I've always wanted to say that. That was awesome. So I guess a little background about me. When I was a young lad, I wanted to be two things. I wanted to be great, and I wanted to be attractive. And so in pursuing these two things, first I wanted to be an astronaut. Then I found out there was a lot of math in that. Didn't want to do that. Then I wanted to be an NFL football player. I was too small. But then when in 7th grade, my dad got me my first electric guitar for Christmas. And I was like, all right, I know what I want to do. So fast forward to high school. So at this time, I started a band my sophomore year with some buddies of mine. And we made it a point that we were going to stick this through. That we were going to do whatever it takes possible to be one of the greatest rock bands. And so we would practice 8 hours every Saturday, and I would practice 2 to 3 hours of guitar after school and whatnot. And so one morning, I went to the bathroom like I do every morning, and I saw a Vocation prayer card my mom put like on the shelf above the toilet, and I looked at it, and I told myself, I'm not going to pray this because I know my God will take me away from my band. So that was quite similar to our good brother Tony Klein. First revelation of God was in the bathroom. But but I realized like something might be going on here. And I quickly realized that I was spending so much time with the band, like all that time that I just explained, but only an hour in Mass on Sunday. And I was like, that's got to change. So I joined the Legion of Our Lady, which is a Catholic men's group at Dowling Catholic. And we talked about what it was to be a man. It's to protect, provide, and establish. So I started asking myself those questions. And along the same lines when I joined this, I was in a relationship that I thought would last. Obviously it didn't. But so she was my dream girl, okay? Her name, first name was Heaven, middle name was Lee. So when you say it together, it's Heavenly, okay? This isn't like this seriously happened. People ask me if this was a joke, but it's not. And she was shorter than me, which is fairly hard to come by. She was Italian and cooked a mean spaghetti, and she had perfect pitch, so I could tune my guitar to her voice. So you could say it was a match made in heaven. But so after 2 months of dating this girl, I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Heaven, will you marry me? And she said yes at the age of 16. I had my life figured out. So yeah, we planned on getting married at my parish. But yeah, that was stupid. But a couple weeks later, lo and behold, we broke up. And but that was when I really started praying. I was like, okay, God, apparently I don't know my life and what I'm supposed to do with it. Like, what should I do? And please give me a holy Catholic girlfriend that will lead me to you. That was the first time I started really relating my heart to God. And at this time, the band we're on the rise. We're getting better, playing shows out of town, little weekend tours here and there. And my dad, he saw how hard we were working, and he's like, Max, I want people to know your talent. I'm going to create a record label, and I'm going to sign you guys. And so he made a record label, signed us, and we had plans to record next year, my senior year, during Christmas break at what was called Sound Farm Recording Studios. I don't know if any of you guys know the band Slipknot, but like world-renowned metal band, like we got to record at the same place they did, which was like, I was like, wow, my dreams are already coming true in high school. This is insane. But yeah, after that meeting with my dad, I was like, all right, let's go. Like, things are working out and whatnot. But after the summer leading into my senior year, I had my first honest confession with Father Zach Kowski, the Dowling chaplain. It's where I really confessed like all my impurities and like everything that I've hidden before. And that is what got the Lord in my life. He started, I could feel his presence, which I have never felt before. So one weekend I went on a college visit, and there at the college visit, the only thing I could do was think of the priesthood, which I have never thought about before. So it really freaked me out. So I went back to Dowling, and I was like, Father, why do I keep thinking about the priesthood? He's like, oh. I was like, what? Why did you say it like that? He's like, well, I saw you and your friends all painted up at the football game, going crazy like animals, and I told God, I was like, okay, Jesus, bother the crap out of his conscience this weekend if he's supposed to be a priest. I'm like, ooh, okay. So after that, I was like, okay, I guess God wants me to be a priest. I don't know what happened. I told my band right after that. And my band, they weren't that supportive, as you could imagine. The drummer, he said, this is what happens when you follow religion. You disappoint people. My best friend for 13 years looked at me straight in the eye, and he said, wow, turned his back and walked away from me. And the lead singer, who they told later on, he later told me he was filled with so much hate and anger for me that he literally threw up. So during this time, abandonment from my friends, I got to know the Lord. And the more I got to know the Lord, I got to know the devil. And he would work through my friends. And it was terrible, because my friends have always had my back. These were my best friends. I remember getting calls late at night, one of them specifically from the lead singer. He called me up and he's like, hey, I just want you to know prayer is a bunch of BS. It's not real. Stay in the band. I remember telling my parents, and my dad, he's like, hey, are you doing this to get a stable job to please your mom? I was like, no, I wouldn't really give up a wife and kids to please my mother. I told my mom, and she's like, you're the last one out of my 3 boys that I would expect to become a priest. So, I felt very much alone and whatnot. But I started getting a friendship with Father Zach Kowski, and that was awesome. I'm in his office every now and then, and he showed me the movie Fishers of Men. And, that Fishers of Men, you guys know. Well, there's a part where the priest, he's like everything goes black, and the priest shows up, and he's like, the priesthood is the most countercultural thing a man can do. And I saw that, and my mind went to the scene in School of Rock where Jack Black looks outside and he goes, that is so punk rock. I was like, that's it. Like all this rebelliousness, all this punk rockness that's been inside me all the time, like the Lord wants me to go against the culture by being a priest. So it was a little spiteful, but the Lord was working through that. And I started to receive signs. One of them was literally a billboard. On my way to school, I saw this billboard saying, looking for a sign for the vocation of the priesthood? Well, here it is. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. So after all of that, I told my friends that I wasn't thinking about the priesthood anymore, just to get them to settle down and be on my side again. But through that time, I really got to know the Lord. Then during the Christmas break, we got to record. And it was the hardest thing I've ever worked on. I remember one of the engineers that worked on the album, he told my dad, I don't know if any of you guys know the brand Gibson Les Paul. It's a guitar brand. Well, we got that guy's son to work on our album. And that guy's son, who's been around many famous bands, told my dad, your son has picked the right profession. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've wanted to hear that from like a higher up like that for so long. So this tension of the band and the priesthood was growing and growing and growing. I know I could have gone with the band and have been successful at this point, but the Lord was pulling me even stronger. And we were playing this one show, and it was during the middle of a song. Like, through all the noise from the crowd, through all the noise of the band, all I could pay attention to was Jesus Christ up on his throne, pointing down at me, like on the stage, saying, "You're going to be my priest. Let's go." That's the only thing I could think of. And after that, I decided to tell my vocation director and get the papers to get into seminary, but I haven't told the band at this point yet. So I was doing that behind the band's back for about 3 months. And then after one of our biggest shows, I figured, okay, they're going to be in a good mood. There's a lot of people here, so I don't know, I'll just tell them then. I told them, and I broke down. I was like, guys, God is telling me to go into the seminary. Like, I'm not doing it just because he's telling me to. I want to do it. And I broke down crying in front of them. They have never seen me like that before. The lead singer, who would really play devil's advocate that whole time, he picked me up and hugged me. And he said, "Max, I've never seen you so passionate about something. If this is what you need to do, then do it." And at that point, I realized, I got my friend back. And I realized that is a sign from God. I need to do this. So going on through the summer, I trained a new guitar player to take my place. And at the end of the summer, we played our last show at the Iowa State Fair, which is awesome. It's kind of like the culmination of everything I've been working for in that. And while playing in that, I realized, yes, I could have done this. And this is so good and so sweet. But I'm giving this up for God. I'm giving this up with God. Like, Jesus is with me in this. And he told me he will repay me 100-fold. How much greater is this going to be? Is the seminary going to be than this? And my brothers, I tell you, the seminary, I have had, much more fun, many great adventures, much more than in the band. James knows. And I have received so much greater friends, especially, in my DBs. I love you guys, each and every one of you. And, all of my brothers here that, are from other dioceses, that would come, there's guys in here that I am really good friends with that I thought, I would never be compatible with. And the Lord has repaid me back, I would say at least, I don't know. I would say 100-fold already, but my life isn't over yet. I don't know. He's been really good to me. But yeah, so that's how the Lord has worked through my life so far. Praise be Jesus Christ.
Now and forever. Good job, man.
Thanks, man.